Howdy, y'all, and welcome back to another episode of David's Saturday Night Sit Back, the podcast where we tell stories that will light your internal fire. Whether it's business, fitness, culture, or just figuring life out, my guests and I sit down, open up, and dive deep. Most of the people on the show have never told their story like this before, not on stage, not on YouTube, and not on a podcast, so grab a drink, take a breath, and let's sit back together, because tonight might just be the story that shifts something inside of you. Imagine growing up, chasing fastballs and touchdowns. But one day, you feel the ice calling. Not just the cold, but the discipline, the speed, the pressure of being the last line of defense. Now imagine moving from Seattle to Colorado, Massachusetts, South Dakota, Houston, and finally landing in Austin, Texas. New cities, new teammates, new systems, but one thing always stayed the same: the grind. You're a full-time political science major, you work retail on the side, you skate with UT Austin's hockey team, and right before each game, you're not blasting music, pacing the locker room, or meditating in silence, you're eating Raisin Bran. He's played for the Pueblo Bulls, Rebels Hockey, Swee Lookout Bombers, Sexsmith Vipers, the New Jersey Hitmen, and the Seattle Junior Totems, and now he's lacing up for UT. Whether he's pulling off glove saves or pulling all-nighters to stay on top of school, Casey Johnson is what being a student athlete really looks like in 2025. Unpredictable, unglamorous, but incredibly worth it. Let's sit back with the man in the crease. Casey Johnson, thank you for who you are, thank you for being here, and welcome to your episode on David's Saturday Night Sit Back.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, how was that? Did I get all that right?
I hit a lot more points than I expected. So yeah, I would say that was pretty top tier. I will say the intro music too. It's very jazzy and very fun. So got me excited.
I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah.
I wish I could say I wrote it myself. I definitely did not. Thank you, Fiverr. Not a sponsor, but Fiverr artists are great. Go check them out if you're starting a podcast. I have a very easy icebreaker question for you. Is your birthday July 31st?
It is, yes.
Dude, so one of my guests, his name's Clementine. He's a comedian here in Austin, Texas. His birthday is July 29th. My birthday is July 30th. And a guest that I'm having on this coming Monday named Beck, a local bodybuilder, is also born on July 31st.
That I will say, great things come in threes. And Harry Potter's birthday. I don't know if you're a Harry Potter fan. Harry Potter's birthday is July 31st too.
Dude, I couldn't tell you the difference between a Wigglebuffin and a Hufflepuff.
Fair enough.
I grew up, I'm a little bit older than you, but when I grew up, Harry Potter was considered like the worst thing that could happen to Christian culture, and my parents wouldn't let us touch anything Harry Potter related with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, I mean, I could kind of see that. I'm fortunate to be, like you mentioned, a little bit younger, so that Pokemon is evil mentality type, same wavelength wore off, and I was able to enjoy the movies with the books as well.
I'll give you one more easy question before we jump into the hard ones. You want a Zyn?
I do not. No, thank you.
Do you
don't
consume nicotine products?
I do not. No.
Let me be a bad influence on you today. No, I'll move them over here. What was the other one? Raisin Bran.
Yes.
Raisin Bran. I've talked to a lot of hockey players. I've heard a lot of these traditions of what they do before they go on the ice, and you're eating Raisin Bran.
Yes. So, I mean, the whole Raisin Bran thing started out when I was playing out in Wilcox, Saskatchewan at Notre Dame, at 14 years old, and I wasn't quite fond of some of all the food that they had before the games, and the one thing that they did have consistently was crunchy Raisin Bran. And that season it had a lot of highs and lows, but I noticed that the highs turned out to be a little bit more frequent when I eat my Raisin Bran, and so there's one point where I actually had 8 bowls of Raisin Bran before a game. My stomach didn't do all that well, but I mean it's kind of stuck from everywhere else I went. I'm like, all right, crunchy Raisin Bran, game day, let's do it.
Yeah.
So.
Heck yeah. I usually have a tradition of just working out before the podcast, and I couldn't make it today. So this could go terribly, and if it does, it's my fault. It's not you. It is literally me.
I will say, maybe get some the push-ups, or I saw you walking around, getting just a little bit of sweat in. There we go.
I took the dog for a walk.
See, there you go. That's getting active. It's all in the mental.
Yeah. No, the walk was good. I called a friend. I was like, what can I do? I'll call a friend. I'll get myself in a good mood. We talked about some interesting things, like I told you, but all is well in the world.
All anything to get your mind right. For me, it's Raisin Bran. For you, lifting or walking the dog.
Yeah. All right, let's jump into it. Hard questions now.
Oh no.
All right. So on the surface, you're a hockey player. You're a student. You've worked some retail jobs. Who is Casey Johnson, though, if we take away all the titles?
I would consider myself a strong advocate for a lot of things that matter for my major, and a lot of things that I care about near to my heart. I mean, I love traveling, as well. Big part of, a reason why I work at retail in the past was because I'm passionate about fashion. And a little fun fact: when I was about a year old, maybe a little bit older, I was actually a model in a Nordstrom's catalog as a model for their youth or spring collection of '04, I think it was, or maybe '05, and I was like, I'm destined to enjoy fashion with that. Additionally, outside of retail and fashion. And travel. I'm an avid fisherman, but outside of that, I feel like I'm a Swiss Army knife with a whole other slew of things. So I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff that I can't say I'm an aficionado about, but there's that.
You were a model for the 2004 or 5 edition?
Yes, for the spring catalog. Yeah.
Were you alive then?
Yes,
How old are you?
I'm 22. I was born in '03.
Okay.
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right. I was doing the math there for a second. I was like, "There's no way he's wrong about his own life."
No, see. Actually, I went on ChatGPT and looked up. No, but no, seriously, I was born in Seattle, living in Seattle. I had the opportunity to, I guess my parents more so had the opportunity to put me in a Nordstrom's catalog, and it was really interesting. I had the pictures. I don't have any recollection of it because little kid, but is one of those things that kind of pushed me into fashion.
I'm gonna really push your memory here. You're how old? One more time. Sorry, 22.
22.
I'm 38, so I don't remember my childhood that well. It's sort of buried. You may remember this moment. You may not. But I have a picture of you from when you were just a wee little tyke.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Let's see it.
This is you, right?
That is me. That is right. Yeah. So.
For those listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, all these pictures will be on the YouTube version if you want to jump over a minute or two. What memories does that bring back?
Honestly, just being at the Diamond, hanging with the family, and enjoying competing. My dad played professional ball, minor league ball, and he kind of pushed that onto me when I was growing up and when I was younger, and kind of sparked that interest, and seeing myself back on the ball field, it's just very, very nostalgic, right? It's smelling the pine tar, and I mean, hearing the cleats on the dirt and the dugout. I mean, there's no sound like it. Not even in hockey, as much as it pains me to say. So,
here's another one. You enjoying a different sport?
Yes.
Is that your dad?
That is my dad. Yeah, that's me in 8th grade. 8th grade, I started to play football. Played football prior to that, but that was the first year I played football in Texas, and played quarterback because I thought, I can play baseball, I can play quarterback, right? And it's just a completely different thing. I know as of right now, there's a lot of flack towards certain QBs in our area, but I mean it's a very tough position, and just because you can throw the ball far doesn't mean you'll be a good quarterback. But there's a lot of fond memories of playing football out in Houston.
I don't follow sports at all, and we'll just spend like a minute on this because this is about you at the end of the day. What flack are local QBs getting right now?
I'll just say a certain Arch Manning is receiving some tough love, but I mean, I think he's doing all right.
I'm gonna have to look this up afterwards.
Yeah.
What does Casey Johnson not want to say on a podcast? I'm assuming it's all public. I'll be able to find it pretty easy, whatever it is.
He's just again, I am in no position to say anything because I'm not a Division I quarterback. I'm nowhere near it. But I do know that people are saying, oh well, if he's a Manning, then why isn't he beating the brakes off of Kentucky where they won in overtime, and it's because it's the first year that he's starting, in my opinion, and he's going through the adjustment period. So some growth.
Sports, people are crazy about sports. Yes. Even my buddy Tom, Tom Barvik, he follows football so closely, and he's one of those guys where he has a memory where he knows all of his favorite players' stats. It's his religion. If there's a game on, don't ask him to do anything else unless there's a TV somewhere where he can have the game on.
Yeah.
In the few instances we can get him away from the TV, he has it on his phone, prop it up on the table, no shame at all. I could not be in the public eye like that. The amount of just... Do you mind if I curse? Does cursing offend you? The amount of shit talking, the hate, and then other days you're their hero, and it's goodness. It's so up and down.
It's absolutely insane. I mean, being able to be part of that somewhat, playing junior hockey and having played for programs who had a rabid fan base for some. I mean, having a glimpse of that is a great deal of pressure, but it's also a great honor. But you don't even see the things behind the scene when all those fans are booing or cheering or whatever it may be, because there's things going on behind the scenes where whether it's the coach say you better do this, or the GM say, hey, we have offers for you to get traded, or whatever else maybe you have a test due the next day. You never know what's on top of these athletes' plates. And I give mad respect for anybody who's able to balance that and find success in it.
Yeah, agreed. My skin is not thick enough for it. I've even thought about when this podcast blows up, like, I just don't want the eye on me, It's sort of nice having like a smaller to medium-sized podcast. Sure. I've only had 2 people ever approach me and been like, oh, you're David.
Yeah.
And that's nice. It's cool. It's cool. And they like the podcast, so they're fans. But dude, I know the hate's going to come my way for it, and that's I'm preparing for that.
See, you need to follow. Are you a Swiftie?
I don't even know. Oh, Taylor
yes.
Swift.
Okay. So
clearly not.
Right. I was gonna say, once you're, internationally, the top podcast on Spotify, or Apple or wherever you're listening on it, you're going to need the cleaning cart that she used for the Eras tour to get around, so people don't mob you and like, hey.
Yeah. No, widowy.
Yeah.
You grew up in Seattle, Washington. Catholic roots.
Yes. Yeah. Went to St. Mary Magdalene Elementary School, and then until 3rd grade, and went to North Shore Christian Academy before I moved to Houston. Very interesting times.
Tell me about if you go back as far as you can in your memory bank, what's one of your earliest memories?
Earliest memories from Catholic school, or from in general?
In life.
In life. Probably one of my earliest memories is, at least I can pull off the top of my head, was stepping onto the rink for the first time when I was about 2 years old, with my skating coach and who was my friend's mom, and skating on the little lines on the ice and falling over and just being a little bobblehead pretty much on the ice. Those memories, and Linwood Ice Center, those were just one of those things. I'm like, okay, like that's the first thing. That's my first memory.
You can remember as far back as 2. That's awesome.
Not clearly, not like I can remember stepping on the ice and skating, but I don't remember much coherently after that. It's like, oh, little snippets.
What was growing up like in Seattle, Washington?
I mean, this will sound a little partial, but magical. I no dig to the Texas weather, or no dig to to the southern heat, but being able to wake up in December, October, whatever, closer to winter, fall time, and having that crisp frost on the ground, and being able to see the snow, or just having all the things that culturally that are there, and I was able to experience, and fortunate enough to experience, was just incredible. One thing too, I mean, even though I'm not, and I'm going to bring it back to sports a little bit, because that's a key part of my life, but I was there when the Seattle Seahawks won the Super Bowl. I think it was 2012 or maybe 2014, and I remember going to the parade. Even though I'm a Niners fan, I watched their parade. I watched Marshawn Lynch throwing Skittles out, and Just those little memories, those little things I wouldn't be able to experience anywhere else.
Do you have siblings?
I do. I have an 8-year-old little brother and a 15-year-old little sister.
He's 8 right now?
He's 8 right now.
It's a pretty big gap.
It is 14 years, 7 years between each of us.
Is your family in Austin?
They are, yes. Yeah, they live a little bit north of Austin.
Were you and your sister close growing up?
I think so. Traveling around from hockey when, or leaving home from hockey when she was 7, I was 14. Probably, for better or for worse, we didn't interact during the school year as much as probably normal siblings do. But I think we're pretty dang close for all things considered.
How about you and your brother? Are you guys pretty close now?
Considering he is in 3rd grade, it is a little more funky. One thing that we bond over is
Raisin Bran?
No. Oh no, he's a Cinnamon Toast Crunch guy. No, we bond over like Fortnite and just kind of little things that he enjoys with his little friends.
Yeah, with his little friends.
I mean, they're
no, I know you
little
weren't
guys.
insulting it. It's just funny.
Yeah. But yeah, no, like they're, I mean, one thing that he's been saying a lot, is mentioning like, the new K-pop Demon Hunters movie, which, is a good movie, but it's one of those things that he and his friends are all about right now.
Yeah, I have a sister with about 17 years in between us,
Oh.
and we are very different. I'm all about the gym.
Mm-hmm.
I do stand-up comedy for fun.
Mm-hmm.
I have the podcast. I'm pretty extroverted. She is very introverted, reads 30 books a year. She's a million times smarter than I am. She's a brainiac. She's a genius, And sometimes I feel like we're pretty close, but sometimes I'll be hanging out with her and I'll be like, what should we talk about?
It's like,
We're not going to talk about the gym. She doesn't like comedy. I'm not smart.
Oh my
How's
goodness.
the weather?
So it's the time, right? Yeah,
It's
time.
the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's another picture of you. How old were you here?
So let's see here. I think I was 4, roughly. I honestly I don't remember the exact age, but I remember that was one of the first hockey teams I played for, like organized hockey. Growing up, that before that, my parents kind of said, okay, well, you want to play hockey? Well, you have to learn to skate. And that was my first year of hockey where I just enjoyed it, fell in love with it there. I still have that little wooden stick that I'm holding there. It's in my room. And there's a little angry face that my dad drew on it when I was little that I continue to draw on every one of my sticks. So just brings back a lot of fond memories.
I have a story about your dad.
Oh, jeepers! Oh, let's, okay. let's. I'm interested.
Did you know he sort of orchestrated this whole thing?
I did not.
So I'm in the gym.
Sure.
And I see that someone tagged me in a picture.
Mm-hmm.
And so I open up I'm always curious. I'm like, did someone reshare one of the posts? But I
Sure.
gotta check real quick to make sure, like, do I have to delete this or what is it?
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at this picture and I'm like, why would someone tag me in it? And so whatever page it was, I went over to there. I saw Lucas and Elliot
Mm-hmm.
were associated with the Instagram page somehow. So then I saw, Casey Johnson, hockey player. Or not, what's your dad's name?
Colin.
Colin. I was like, Colin, let's have another hockey player on the show.
Yeah.
It's been a while. So I messaged him. And
Oh,
he
man.
said, he was like, I don't play hockey. I think you're trying to reach my son.
Yeah.
Here's his name. Here's his Instagram handle.
Yeah.
You should have him on. And he went, these are the reasons why. And so then we ended up exchanging like, I don't know, just like 7 or 8 messages
Sure.
back and forth for a few minutes. Seems like a really nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went over to your page and I sent your invite out. And I was like, all right, here's the guy I want.
Yes.
No shade to your dad.
No,
but he's
yeah.
straight up said it. He's like, you don't want me on your show.
I will say he'd probably be a very interesting guest. He's a very personable person, and I got to attribute a lot of my athletic drive and my personality to him. But that's kind of funny though. I do remember though. He said, "Oh yeah, he shot me a text like, "Hey, so did you get a text message from a podcaster?" I was like, "Yeah." How'd you know? I didn't follow up on that. I'm like, "Okay."
He didn't say anything
I was
else.
like, "Okay, all right." Random. Yeah. Okay.
Well, he seems like he's very proud of you, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your and your dad's relationship like growing up?
One thing that we had growing up was he always really wanted to push me to be my very best, athletically and academically. And, my mom did too. They continue to say, all right, if you're gonna push yourself, you gotta put your best foot forward, and they wouldn't let me, slack off. No matter how much I wanted to sometimes. But one thing though, my dad and I really bond over is baseball. Like I mentioned, he played ball, and my I will say my last year of junior hockey, it didn't go the way I wanted to, and there was a great deal of like frustration and just resentment towards the sport. And um, he really encouraged me, like, oh, why let's pivot to baseball. Let's see if you can go play college baseball, and let's see where that takes you. It's just to stay active. And it was one of those things that I think that had my dad and I not had that bond, had that relationship, I don't think that I would be here today, or would have been able to have the experience to play collegiate baseball.
Yeah. What's your dad's name one more time?
Colin.
Colin. Did you like the pressure that he put on you, or were you sort of resistant to him? Like, come, Dad, just let me be a kid already. Like, stop.
There were definitely some heated exchange in the car on the way back from games where I fully admit I probably slacked off. There's probably things I could have put forth a better effort and done better, but he kept me accountable, right? And not just to my team, but to myself. And there's like I mentioned, there's some heat exchange, but those were all beneficial, and they really formed me to who I am now.
That's awesome. Excuse me. Still on the tail end of allergies. Between football, baseball, and hockey, how did you eventually land on hockey as the thing you were going to pursue?
Up until, is it 11th grade, or not 11th grade, 9th grade, so freshman year of high school, I played baseball and hockey, and it wasn't until like I had the opportunity to go play higher level hockey that I was like, okay, I have to leave baseball behind. And it's just because, I mean, honestly, I love baseball a great deal. I love hockey a great deal, but it's just one of those things where I had a better opportunity in the moment where I had to make the decision for hockey, and I mean, through hockey, I've been able to see, majority of the U.S. and majority of Canada, and I think I made the right decision, whether or not, I think a lot of people put weight on sports, like, oh, well, you know, you're not in the NHL. There's so much more life lessons that are to be found in sports, and so many more experiences that can be found through that I am extremely grateful that I think a lot of people take for granted if they have the same opportunities that I had.
We'll come back to hockey in a second. I have one more picture for you, and I'm not sure when I'm going to throw this one in or if it'll come up, so I'll just throw it in now. Look at you.
Yep.
Look at you guys.
There we go.
What a cute family.
Yes. I will say I was mad that I had to take that picture.
Why?
Well,
You look at, actually, that smile does look a little forced.
it was, yeah. Part of the reason was because that those pictures were supposed to be done earlier in the day, and I had some stuff planned with some friends and whatnot, and as I honestly just wanted to do my own thing, and so but I was like, fine, I'll take a picture. Jeez, all right, let's go. But no, it I that Christmas, I think it was the Christmas before COVID, so 2019. That we were able to go down to or go up to a little farm in I think Huntsville, Texas. They had a truck and some Christmas trees, and went from there.
Sorry for that background noise.
It's all good.
We'll give it a second to pass here. Do you like Christmas?
It is my favorite holiday.
Yeah.
I'm a big Christmas guy. I think that, I mean, Halloween growing up was a lot of fun. You know, especially some of the houses that used to decorate in Seattle, which I will say in Austin, people don't decorate their houses as much. I don't know why. I'd like be festive. But you know, subtle dig. But
You're
um,
right, though. I remember my first Christmas in Austin. I went and drove downtown, and I
mhm.
was hoping like lights would be up everywhere and there'd be
Trees,
trees. And
yeah.
I was like, oh, we
It's
don't really do anything. We had like the
no.
Trail of Lights at Zilker Park, and that's sort of it.
It's yeah. I mean, see, you know, Austin, Houston, same thing. I mean, there's two neighborhoods in Houston that are really solid in regards to you know, Christmas lights. Um, but you know, like I mentioned, growing up in Seattle with Christmas, where I used to take Santa pictures at Nordstrom's downtown, you know, with my family, and we would you know cut down a Christmas tree down from Snoqualmie,
From where?
Snoqualmie in Washington. It's like it's a mountain. You know, it's I mean, it's just a magical time of year, especially for those of you who are able to experience or have experienced it up north. It's just something incredible.
Yeah. I'm gonna put a Christmas tree on my porch this year.
There we
Gonna
go.
get
There we
this
go.
neighborhood feeling a little bit more.
Are you listening to Christmas music yet?
No.
No, really.
No
Okay,
way.
interesting. See, I listen to Christmas music, you know, 2 to 3 times, like different points of the year. I listen to it in the summer, like in July. Like not like it's not on repeat, but like you know what? Like it's July 14th. I'm gonna listen to like some Christmas music. And I listen again, you know, probably around this time of year, maybe a little before, just to be like, oh, it's coming up. Oh, here we go. It's showtime. And then as soon as November 1st hits, it's nonstop. You know, I listen to it from
Yes.
November 1st to December 31st. And then after I'm like, okay, I got my Christmas fix out. I'm good. And then cycle repeats.
November 1st is very fair.
Yeah.
I probably will bust it out around then too. I do love Christmas. Every year I do a Christmas hootenanny on the
Oh,
podcast.
okay.
So I'm doing the third one on November 9th. I'm very excited for it. And we talk all things Christmas. Christmas has gone wrong. Christmas gifts gone wrong.
Oh.
Favorite Christmas traditions. And the first time I did it, I was like, this is going to be so tacky and no one's going to care. It's the first episode that went viral. And I, in my mind's eye, I'm like, maybe when people are like shopping for,
Yeah.
you know, maybe when you're doing stuff by yourself, like because you can't have your family there when you're buying their gifts. Maybe people are turning this on while they're trying to get in the Christmas spirit.
Yeah.
So we did it a second time last
There you
year. Went great. So I'm like, guess we'll do a third one.
It's a trend. It's you know, I mean, I will say, I even though I just praise Christmas music, sometimes it's nice to listen about Christmas.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Well, if you want something to tickle your eardrums for a few hours this year, if you're on the road or doing anything, me and my friend Ben will be talking all things Christmas.
I will probably listen to that on repeat while I'm wrapping gifts.
Well, and there's 3 now, so you won't have to listen to the same one.
Exactly.
You could go back into the archives of this show
Like,
and
all right,
where is it?
yeah, no, I mean, you know, I love Bing Crosby, Washington native, right? But you know, White Christmas only goes so far. It's good to listen to a little variety.
Yeah. Are you still a practicing Catholic?
So, I am not. So interesting enough, so I was not baptized Catholic. I went to Catholic school. I went to Catholic school, kindergarten through or 5th grade, public school for 3 years, and then Catholic school up until last year. And I do associate. I call myself Catholic adjacent.
Okay.
Just because there's some things that I disagree with in Catholic doctrine, which I mean they are being talked about. They are being discussed. You know, but it's just one of those things I feel, you know, just through my own theology and talking with, you know, proper theologians, I don't feel adequately represent, you know, what I understand and to, you know, and what I digest from the Bible.
What's one thing you disagree with?
One thing I disagree with is the acceptance of the LGBTQ community, and that's one thing. I mean, when I was in 3rd grade, I went, you know, in a Catholic school. I think it was 3rd grade. It was at St. Mary Magdalene. There's literature being discussed about members of the LGBTQ community and the legalization of that, and it's something that granted at the time I didn't really give it too much mind because I was a little kid, but in hindsight I'm like, I feel like there's something inherently wrong with putting a policy in a place of worship, especially when it infringes upon what in my opinion Jesus calls us to do it and love everybody. Because if you can't love everybody and allow everybody to love how God has given them, you're misconstruing the message of Jesus.
There's a section of a episode with my buddy Isaac that just came out last week, and he was talking about how he doesn't have a problem with religions having something wrong with a particular group of people, but he was like, double down on it. So if you hate the gays, just hate the gays. Well, but don't tiptoe around it and be like, yeah, we want you to come to church, when in the back of their head they're like, I hate you. So he had a really hot take on it, but in a way I was like, I sort of agree with you. I like.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think there's definitely some groups like that, that are doubling down on their opinions. I'm like, oh, okay, you're making yourself very apparent. But I think it's important to move towards a balance where you can't, hate any group if you're a religion preaching love.
Amen.
Yeah.
Do you have any words to define, like, what? Actually, let me rephrase this. Do you believe in God?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
What does that look like for you?
So one thing that has stuck with me, and my former professor at St. Over, Dr. Karen Park, spoke about this during our course, and I spoke with her, one-on-one and discussed, is the metaphorical theology and why saying things like King of Kings and Lord of Lords actually limits God's nature. Because if you say that, oh, he's a king, well, why can't he be a queen? Why can't he be something beyond a king, right? So my image of God and my understanding of God is something that is so outlandish that we have no word for it, right? Except for God, because God is all encompassing and God is everything. Whether or not you can comprehend it in the moment, or comprehend it 10 years from now, or someone in a medieval village, or 500 years ago could understand. Nobody has the possibility of understanding who God and what God is.
Yeah, I have 2 or 3 friends in Alcoholics Anonymous, and similar to how you feel about Catholic school, like, there's some things I've heard about the program where I'm like, that's interesting. Yeah. But if it works for them, like, if they want to live sober and it works for them, I'm like, yes, you should be in AA. One thing I like about the program is that they just refer to their thing as a higher power, instead of giving it, and I like that term, because we before we turned the mics on, you and me were sort of talking about that, and I'm at the point in my life where I'm like, there is something going on out there,
absolutely,
but I don't know what to call it. So I've sort of stolen their term, and I'm like, if someone asks me if I believe in God, I'll respond with, I believe there's a higher power that we don't understand, and we might not ever understand, and we can't put words to it past that.
Absolutely.
But I don't believe, there's been too many you ever heard the term, we're in the simulation?
Yes.
I'm like, there's too many simulation moments that have happened in my life for me to be like, nope, there's nothing out there.
Yeah. No, and I think, I mean, the phrase or the cliche, God works in mysterious ways, I think perfectly encapsulates the simulation, how that happened moment, right? And we, before we spoke about, a story that you heard, where somebody experienced a simulation moment where, like, how did this happen, right? And I think that exactly is what God is. It's not something that's able to be envisioned. The only envisionment that we have of God is, in my opinion, is Jesus. But that is just one part of the Trinity.
Have you ever heard of the term agency?
I have, depending on the context, yes.
Do you consider yourself a high agency person? Are you more of a you happen to life than life happens to me type person?
I would say so, but it's tough to say, for sure, because I have no idea.
Well, one of the reasons I ask is because one of the indicators that someone could be a high agency operator is when people who have one, I'll call it a job, a hockey player, have interests that might go against the stereotype. And I was surprised to hear and learn and find out when I was preparing for today that you're into fashion.
Yes, yeah, uh, I'm very interested in fashion. Part of that is through working with retail. I've mentioned before, and being a model for Nordstrom. But I pay attention to events like the Met Gala and Paris Fashion Week and stuff like that, and kind of see what trends are going on, and not so much for the fashion itself, in a vacuum, but also what type of messages and what type of um, uh, trends are being pushed out by either the companies selling the items or the companies creating the items, right? Because I mean, you look at Fashion Week and some of the runway shows in Paris or in London or New York. A lot of those products don't end up being on the shelves, right? You don't walk into a Nordstrom's or a Macy's or a Dillard's, and you don't see a absurdist, Louis Vuitton outfit. Um, but there's a certain message that in my understanding, that the designer is trying to convey, either intentionally or unintentionally, through that outfit that I find very fascinating.
What's going on in the fashion world these days that has caught your attention?
Well, I'll pivot here to everyday items that most people will realize is, I've noticed that there is a trend of um, boxism, I like to call it.
Boxism.
Boxism. I don't know if that's the official term. I just, it's something that I've noticed. The super skinny jeans of the early 2010s and the mid 2010s even are kind of going away, and we're now adopting to a Korean style, very flared out outfits, right? And I think it's very interesting to see, one brand that I'm personally a big fan of and that's really caught my attention, is Hiroshi Kato, right? And they're a Japanese salvage denim brand here in the U.S. And they have slimmer cut denim, and among other items, but um, they also have a great deal of just more boxier, open cut items that are in my opinion look really sharp and have been really popular. And I mean, we're seeing it if you look at fashion trends in Korea and Japan, we're seeing that quite frequently. So I think it's incredible and really interesting to see.
I don't know if the skinny jeans are going away,
Oh.
man. I mean, these ones aren't like super skinny, but they're definitely a tight fit for sure.
Yes, I mean they're not the jeans that I'm sure you'd wear like to a My Chemical Romance concert in the early 2010s though. So
Right.
it's one of those things that I'm like, oh, very interesting.
Where this? Do you know where this interest came from, or is it just sort of something that's always been there?
Just kind of something that's always been there. I've from a young age I always wore suits to my hockey games. I wanted to wear a suit every day for class picture. From kindergarten, I'm like, you have goldfish in your teeth. I don't care. I want to wear a suit. As silly as it sounds, it's one of those things that I've kind of had just attached to me. Sounds like just like hockey.
You like wearing suits?
I do. I in fact, I have a brand new suit that I got this summer.
Did you almost wear a suit here today?
I did not. I did not. I understand time and place for the suit. This is a kickback. It's a sit back, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
relaxing.
yep.
And so I'm wearing some relaxing outfits that I would be out in the street in.
I had one guy show up in a suit, but he was also this like 30-year general from the Navy. So
Okay,
I was like,
that's a little.
it didn't surprise me at
Yeah.
all that he came in a blazer, button-up shirt. I
Yeah.
was like, this tracks.
This
This
a little
would be
different.
this would be the guy that would show up in a suit.
Very, yeah. That is very different than me. I will no. I will not be doing that. Any of that. But no, I'm like for me, I'm just very casual. Got my Vans on, and in fact, I knew that we would talk about Seattle, so I wore my Seattle socks.
Heck yeah.
And it's kind of some chill stuff.
Just sitting back.
Exactly.
Who is Coach Grubb to you?
Coach Grubb. So he is the goalie coach, my goalie coach out of Houston, and I'd say a good friend at this point, and he's one of those guys that really helped me establish the way I play the game of hockey, and it's, one of those things that I consider a great friend. We've talked to things about outside of hockey and in real life stuff that was going on or was happening to myself. The amount of influence that he had in my hockey career, and just finding my way in hockey in Houston is beyond words.
Sorry, I was just rereading my notes real quick because
No,
thought I wrote down something else about him, but maybe I didn't.
I will say he did play professional hockey in England. He is a Scotsman, so and you can definitely tell when you interact with him. I mean, he is very charismatic and very just a great guy to be around. And I kind of joke, every year on St. Patrick's Day, he posts, everybody's Irish on St. Patrick's Day, except for the Scots. We're still Scottish, and I want to say I've told him this in person, but it's probably the thing I look forward to the most on St. Patrick's Day. I'm like, yeah, there's the post.
Yeah.
It's just one of my favorite things. So.
In high school,
Mm-hmm.
what did you think? Do you think there's any moment in a high school that potentially could have changed the trajectory of who you are today? Was there ever a decision where you could have either gone right or left? You went right. What was that decision? Tell us about that day.
Yeah. There's probably quite a few in high school, 'cause, just some of the way that things kind of folded out. But, one particular moment for me was when I got drafted to go play junior hockey at 16 years old. I had an opportunity to continue with the program I was with, and stay with that. But I decided to go play junior hockey and be the youngest player in the league, the youngest player drafted in the league, and or at least at that time. And I think if I didn't do that, I probably would have had a much different trajectory in life. I wouldn't have been able to see all the things I've seen with being able to see the Northern Lights in Sioux Lookout, Ontario, or being able to drive my car in negative 40 weather in Grand Prairie, Alberta. But I think if I stayed with that hockey program that I had the offer from, I don't know what would have happened, but I'm sure that I made the decision I did.
What's it like when you're out on the? Is it ring or rink?
Rink.
Rink.
Yes.
What's it like when you're? Sorry for the terrible question. I'm
No.
cutting it out. What's it like when you're out on the rink? Crowds yelling. There's 9 other guys out there.
Mm-hmm.
The puck's flying around. The lights are going on. There's so much happening. It's why hockey is the only sport that I watch. Is because
Yeah.
it's so exciting. As a player, you're down there on the rink. What's that like?
There's not a particular word I can say to describe it, but the emotion is just so incredible. It's you have to be able to find your zen, right, and find your patience through the noise. I think the best way to describe it actually is if you're listening to a piece of jazz music, right? There's a lot going on. There may be the trumpets, there may be the trombones, there may be the saxophone, there may be the vocalist, the drums, a lot of stuff going on, right? But when you're on the ice, you have one job. Right, you have your role. As a goalie, my job is to stop the puck, be the last line defense, and help give my team an opportunity to win. And that's focusing on the saxophone, I'll call it, right? Being able to just focus on the saxophone, whether the fans or the trombone, the trumpets, they're creating all this chaos, and it's just so magical. You can hear every little note. It's the way it's the best way I can describe it. It's just it's a feeling of just pure euphoria, just being able to compete and experience just the natural highs and lows of the game that you just can't control. It's something that I hope everybody gets to experience. But if you can't, go to a jazz club, listen to some jazz music, and just focus on one instrument. And that's how the best way I can describe it, to be on the ice.
Have you been to Parker Jazz Lounge?
I have not.
It's a fun place. I was there that Saturday.
Where's is it on?
It's on 4th Street.
4th Street. Okay.
Really close to. It's right next to, obviously, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
But
Very chaos.
It's right there. So
Yeah.
if you park there, like across the street, they have a pretty affordable parking garage.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a bunch of restaurants. Usually the show ends at I think their latest show ends at 11. So
Okay.
if you're into the nightlife at all,
Yeah.
you're walking distance when everyone's just starting to show up on 6.
I am not a big bar guy. I'm a homebody. It's not who I am. However, jazz club, jazz, arts festivals, something of that nature, you can count me in 10 times over.
Are you going to the Austin Coffee Festival this weekend?
I didn't know that was going on this weekend. I will say I will. So I know it's going to sound contradictory, but being new to the Austin area, I'm just now finding out all about all the great opportunities and events that happen here in Austin. When I lived in Houston, one of my favorite events to go to were the symphony performances that they had, down there in Houston, and also the Woodlands Arts Festival. Just because you had a smorgasbord of artists, painters, sculptors, dancers, vocalists, leather craftsmen, silversmiths, all these just different beautiful pieces of work that are just, you can walk around and you have to. If you are able, you can buy some of the items. As a college student, not something I could do. But it's like walking through a living museum. And that's one thing that's, despite being able to go to the Louvre and the Orsay and the Met and all these art museums, none of them compare to actually being on the market where this art is being sold and being presented at the first time.
Some people might click off when I say this. I'm not a big art person.
Oh my goodness.
But going to the Met was nuts.
Yeah.
It's hard to walk through that building and not be in awe at some of the stuff they have there.
It's overwhelming. It really is. Just how much history is in one building, it's hard to fathom.
Yeah. I told my sister, I was like, we're going to make it through the Met in one day. And she was like, no, we're not. And I was like, no, watch. No. We're going to do it. We got there 30 minutes after they opened. Mm-hmm. And I think it was 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon when we sort of looked at each other. We both had that look in our eyes. Are we ready to give up this ridiculous task? And we were like, yeah, let's give up.
Yeah, it's like, my legs hurt. My back's a little bit sore. You want to go home? Yeah.
I have one more picture for you that I did not print because I wanted the caption on it, and this could just be my lack of knowledge about hockey. Mm-hmm. But on May 3rd, 2018, you said, "Congratulations to all that were drafted in the Bantam Draft today. For me, I now have 22 reasons that fuel the fire." And before I even going to ask you my question, why are you gasping?
Okay, so when I posted that picture, I part of the reason why I went to Notre Dame and the small little village that is Wilcox, Saskatchewan, was because I wanted the opportunity to go play in the WHL. Growing up in Seattle, I watched the Everett Silvertips and the Seattle Thunderbirds, and part of the reason why I became a goalie was because the goalie for the Silvertips, Austin Lotz, was a big influence, and he still is, because I wear a lot of the gear the same way as he did when I watched him. But the day before that was the WHL Bantam Draft, And the Bantam Draft is, I think, 15 rounds. And granted, I did not have the season that I thought I would, but I still thought I did well enough to get drafted, especially compared to my peers who were drafted. I wasn't, and I was filled with. I, I'm not sure if you've seen the Last Dance, series with Michael Jordan, but there's this scene, or this scene. It's like I took that personally, right? And 14-year-old me, granted that the Last Dance hadn't come out at that point, but 14-year-old me was like, yeah, like I'm gonna show them. I'm gonna, I'm gonna go on and I'm gonna be, I'm gonna have all this this chip on my shoulder and just go through hockey and be angry on the ice, which I've learned from experience. It's never good when you're angry on the ice. You lose composure, but that's
what we love as an audience.
well, it's fun to see, but it's not fun to experience. I'll say that. At least like being the person who's been angry on the ice, you look a little bit silly, you feel a little bit silly, especially watching like the game tape back. Like I didn't need to do that. That was a little silly, but no, I had that chip on my shoulder for the next 2 years, and that's probably the reason why I played junior hockey as early as I did.
Have you gone a fight in the middle of a game?
I have. I've gotten into a fight during a game. Kind of. It was a scrum from my nets, and the guy slashed me a little bit too much. Didn't take too kindly to that. Lost my temper, and he ate part of my blocker. I didn't get a penalty because he was my crease, and I'm a goalie, and so I'm just poor little goalie. What am I gonna do? It's like but yeah, no, he got some jabs in, but that's probably the closest thing I've gotten to a fight during a game.
You just said so many words I have no idea what they mean. He ate your block, he harshed your crease, and
yes, no,
I know I
yeah.
butchered that. Sorry,
No,
you went into full-fledged hockey lingo.
Oh yeah, don't you know? Yeah, you go send her, help her, and just give her.
Do more.
No. But no, a blocker like the block hand glove, and the crease is like the little area in front of the net where it's my little home. We'll call it that.
I've heard, I don't know if this is true or not, that the goalies are typically either loved or hated. Is that true?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, partly because we're the weirdest guys.
Are you?
Yeah. It's like it's like a pitcher for baseball, or just we keep to ourselves. I mean, there's probably not a whole lot of people who sign up to face pucks going upwards of 70, 80 miles per hour, going down their head. Like I can't see a logical reason why I'd want to do that, but it's just one of those things that we're a little interesting guys. We got screw loose.
Outside of I feel bad saying this, but outside of your interest in fashion, what's the weirdest thing about you?
I mean, I have a lot of superstitions. I'm extremely superstitious.
About what?
Oh, all sorts of things. Numbers, pole, like, so, my girlfriend and I, like, can't split the pole. I can't step on a line on a crosswalk, because you're separating yourself there. I cannot buy anything that ends in either 666 or anything associated with that. If I need gas and my odometer is at 666, I will drive an extra tenth of a mile just to make sure it's not.
Really?
Yes.
So if you go into a gas station and you buy a Dr. Pepsi and a bag of Doritos and they ring it up, and he says, or she, the attendant says, your total is $6.66. What do you do?
I buy a pack of gum. or I ask myself, do I really need this drink? And I go from there. So up or down, wherever I need.
And the driving one is real too.
Yeah. I mean, like it's not as bad as like I I do let my, while I'm driving, I need gas. I do let my car, get to the fuel light on. But I'm not like one of those people who drive on fumes. I'm like, oh, I can afford to actually drive another tenth of a mile. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm not. But yeah, no, just one of those things.
What happens if you look down at your phone and it's at 66% battery life?
See, but there's no third six.
Oh.
There's no third six. And so, and I know, like, there's no real association with anything with that. It's just one of those things like, oh, that's a bad number. That's bad luck. I'm not going to touch it.
Do you have any conspiracy theories that you've been thinking about?
The moon is made out of cheese. No. I'm not a big conspiracy theory guy. There's just not a whole lot that like for any of the conspiracies, like I'll never forget. There was an Uber driver that I had when I was living in Boston. And he was a flat earther. I never met a flat earther in real life. And I was like, okay. And he's telling me the story, and he's like, yeah, I was a pilot in the Navy, and I flew up there, and I didn't see the curvature of the Earth. I'm like, I've been on airplanes. I've seen it. I've been to the beach. I've seen it. And I was like, okay, well, like, I couldn't have any, anything to give him besides like just my personal experiences, because he's like, oh, you're just, So after that, I was like, okay, let me research this. Let me find actual information so that next time I meet a flat earther, I will have information so I can say, well, actually, if you do this experiment, you will see that the light, whatever. And so that's kind of what I do for all conspiracy theories. I'm like, okay, let's run through the test.
I had a MMA fighter on named Austin Hines, who was the first flat earther I had ever met. And when he told me that, I think I just sort of went, okie dokie. All right, everyone, have a good night.
Like, I will see you on the other side of the Earth, on the ice bridge. No.
So similar to you, I was like, I don't even know what to say. I have nothing to say about this topic. I believe the Earth is round. You believe it's flat. The discussion just sort of ends there. Like, I'm not going to...
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not that I'm like afraid to engage in it. I just don't know what to say to you right now. Because for me, it'd be like if you told me, like, David, you're not drinking a Topo Chico. You're drinking, you're drinking. That's your dog. That's Thad on the table. I would just be like, well, it's not, and it's right there, and that's clearly not Thad. Yeah. But you think it's Thad, so okie dokie.
It's like. I mean, are you familiar with Last Thursdayism?
No.
Okay, so Last Thursdayism, at least as far as I understand, is, can you prove to me that last Thursday happened?
Yeah, I could show you my calendar, I guess.
But how do I know that calendar wasn't fabricated?
I guess you don't.
Right. So, and it's completely absurd, right? But it's the leap of faith that I believe a lot of conspiracy theorists will take. Like, oh well, I have a picture, but like Photoshop exists, so how do I know that this picture wasn't photoshopped? Again, it's completely absurd, but it's something like, oh, it's the same jump.
My psychologist was just telling me about my shrink, my counselor. I don't even know what to call him. Where did I put it?
Your mental health guider.
My mental health guider asked me this week, how do you spell spaghetti?
S-P-A-G-H-E-T-T-I.
Here we go. Have you ever heard the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster?
Yes, I love the Church of Flying Spaghetti Monster. I am not going to go far enough to put a strainer on my head, but I think that the fact that they have gone to the point where you can wear a strainer on your head for your driver's license photo is lovely.
When he told me that they were like litigating against someone and won, dude, I was dying laughing. I was like, this is so ridiculous.
Yep.
And so cool.
It's like, you know what? Screw it. Hey, Flying Spaghetti Monster.
That was a win for humanity right there.
As long as it's not Prego sauce, we're all right.
All right, we went off base there. On March 17th, 2020, do you know what I'm about to read?
March, is that I think that was the day that my first junior hockey season got canceled, or the season ended.
You're correct. Year 1 is done. I hate how the year ended, but I couldn't have asked for a better group of guys to play with. All the memories will last a lifetime. Thank you, boys. Hashtag roll stars.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are so many things about that year that I really fell in love with. Um, first off, my billet brothers, Connor Barter and Jaden Brignoni, those guys were, be- beautiful guys to have, or with me at that time, and especially as a 16-year-old, because Connor was an overager and Jaden was 18. Just to have some guys, some veteran leadership to have me day in and day out, not even at the rink, but just to have that there. There's Derek Lovejoy and Derek Flynn and the coaching staff were, honestly, the best hockey team and the best year I've ever had for hockey. And it's part of the reason why when COVID happened and shut down our season, it hurt a great deal, right? Leading up to that, we had just clinched home ice advantage like the weekend before. And then, it's like, oh, the NBA shut down. Oh, okay. Well, we're still going, Lewiston's still coming here, right? And we're like, yeah, it'll be fine. We'll be fine. And then I think it was that Wednesday, our GM at the time came in and he's like, all right, guys, our season's suspended. It probably will get canceled, but if you guys want us to hang around, I have ice booked through Friday. All right. Naive 16-year-old me didn't understand how the world worked. Didn't know that. Oh, the NBA off. We're the NA3. We're junior hockey. We're gonna live. We're gonna be the one that makes it out. Yeah, no, and then came the announcement that the season was canceled, and I skated with the boy with that team one last time. I've never cried after a practice. But it was after that practice I cried, because it was the up to that point it was the happiest I've ever been playing hockey. It's the most just engaging year I've ever had. We used to coach the youth programs that we had there on Thursdays, and we had like an hour and a half between our practice and their practices, and we would go to a place called similar to like Chipotle. I'm not sure if you're familiar. It's called Moe's Southwest Grill. But we'd go there because it's like walking distance, or probably about half a mile. We drove, but to the rink, and we ate there as a team and shared stories. Some PG, some not so PG, and just had a great time bonding with that group.
Yeah, if I was not podcasting yet in 2020, but if I was, I think I would have just found guests that were like, fuck it, yeah, I'll come to your studio and do an in-person podcast with you. But if I was forced to shut this thing down, I would cry.
Yeah.
Even if I knew it was coming back one day.
Yeah.
To be forced to take something you love and all of a sudden one day it's just gone and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
I either would have cried or would have started punching a wall.
Yeah.
One of those, or a combination of both. I would have been crying while punching the wall.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, it's not fair. And there was definitely some of that crying. I remember when I got back home, for my bill at home, my host family, if you're not familiar with the hockey lingo, I had a chair room. I just sat in it and cried, and I flew out the following Monday. My folks, were understandably concerned about the airport shutting down and getting an airline to get home, and they're like, "You need to get home now." I'm like, "But I love it here. The boys are here, right?"
Yeah.
And I feel like there's just so much unfinished business from that year, but it's one of those things. And like I mentioned in the post, all the memories from that year I will carry with me for the rest of my life.
Yeah, heck yeah.
So.
Real quick, I have my next question, but for the audience, I wanted to share a quick announcement with you guys that if you do happen to live in Austin, on Saturday, February 28th at 1 p.m., we are doing our first episode in front of a live audience at the downtown Austin Public Library. If you want to go scroll down a little bit, there'll be a link to the website. So if you'd like to come to a live podcast, there's going to be some live music. There might be some comedians doing a little bit. So it's not just going to be me droning on with the guests for 2.5 hours. Don't worry, I wouldn't do that to you. It's going to be a super fun event, though. It's going to be one of a kind, and I would love for you to join us. So come on out.
There you go.
How far do you want to go in hockey?
You know, honestly, I've reached a lot of the goals I wanted to do in hockey. I'm playing collegiate hockey now. I played junior hockey. You know, I honestly anything beyond now is I consider a bonus. I would love to get back to the game in any way I can. You know, I'd love to coach. You know, junior hockey players, or college players. Once I get the sufficient knowledge on the game, because I feel that I'm still a student of the game. I mean, you're always a student of the game, but there's still a lot more for me to learn, and I don't feel that if I try to do that now, I would be doing a great disservice. But yeah, no, I anywhere else hockey takes me, I'll be happy.
So would you like to make it to like a D1 league one day?
It'd be cool, but playing collegiate baseball and having the experience playing the NCAA sports, I got that experience. It's something that was very cool, very really awesome. But it's not something that is in the main focus. It's something that like, oh hey, I have the opportunity to do this, or if in the next year or two, we get a donor for the hockey program at UT, like, hey, and in fact, this is an invite. If there's anybody listening who wants to donate to the UT hockey team and help us get to the Division I level and be the first team in Texas to get Division I hockey, gladly. But no, it's something though that I consider extra, right? And I'll bust my butt to give myself the opportunity, but I'm not concerned about it right now. My focus is making a larger impact and a larger positive change on my community post graduation and hopefully post law school graduation.
Writing some thoughts down because you just gave me like 3 questions to ask. Other than money, what's it take for a college level hockey team to go D1?
A lot of it's money, but also sufficient support from coaching staff, which we have. I mean, Coach, Ethan's a great guy, and he really has a wealth of knowledge. But also, you need fans. I mean, Arizona State, they played in a shoebox of a barn, and they had rabid fans.
Do you guys have fans?
Oh yes, oh yeah, we have great amount of fans. But it's one of those things where you go to DKR on campus and it's 100 plus seat stadium and it's filled to the brim.
So it's pretty small.
It's like
100 plus seats?
100,000.
Oh, I was like,
I'm sorry.
What?
Yes. No.
What kind of stadium is this?
No. Sorry.
They just have one line of seats around the perimeter, and that's it.
Yes. It's actually all bench players. No.
Okay, 100,000.
100,000. Yes. I'm
sorry. You guys
sorry.
fill it up?
No. For the football team.
Oh,
yes.
Of course. Okay. Yes. Sorry, it's Friday, so my brain is shutting down quickly.
Like it's Friday.
Have you been to one of those games?
I have not. I have the big ticket package, but I have not gotten lucky with a queue. I'm gonna try to go to the game at least one game this year, whether it be the A&M game, the Vanderbilt game, or Arkansas. But I'm hoping to get one this year. If not, there's always next year.
Yeah, so that's on my bucket list for sure.
Absolutely,
it would be fun. What does the money go to?
So money goes towards scholarships, rink, necessary facilities, funding for, I mean, primarily my understanding it's just scholarships and facilities, right? Establishing the infrastructure to support a Division I hockey team because, like I mentioned, Arizona State did start off in a shoebox of a barn, but they now have a facility where an NHL's team held a season or two with the Arizona Coyotes, right? Now they're since moved on to Utah, but it's one of those things where they need to have established success, established fan base, and established money to build the facilities and establish the network.
Well, One day when this podcast skyrockets and
Yes.
I'm a millionaire, maybe I'll be the guy that funded the UT hockey game and helped you guys get to a D1 level.
Exactly. Or maybe the podcast will reach Matthew McConaughey or something like, hey, all right now.
Yeah.
Let's get Division I hockey to Texas. But
Yeah, that'd be cool.
it would be.
Do you like watching hockey, or are you just like done with it since you're so involved in it?
I've gone through phases with it. Like one of those things. Like I didn't watch hockey a whole lot of professional hockey, at least when I was playing junior hockey. But I watched a lot of collegiate hockey. But nowadays I don't watch any junior hockey. There hardly any junior hockey. I watch a lot of collegiate hockey still, a little bit more professional hockey than I did before. But it's one of those things that when you're playing the sport so much, you're like, all right, let's turn on baseball, right?
Yes.
Let's see my poor Seattle Mariners get knocked out of the ALCS. But or let's turn on what's going on in the world. And this is something that I used to do on the bus when I was playing juniors, is I wouldn't watch a movie. I wouldn't watch hockey. I wouldn't see what's going on. I would listen to music or read the newspaper. Just because one of those things, like, okay, I need an escape. I need to get outside of the rink. I need to get outside of the team, and just establish some connections elsewhere.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
You said your main focus is having a positive impact on the community.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like? What kind of impact do you want to have?
Yeah, so I'm a big environmentalist. I want to make sure that the world that I was born into, the world that I lived in Seattle, which is a huge environmentalist, and obviously the West Coast is very big on preserving the wildlife there. I want to make sure that the generations after me and so on get to experience that as well, right? And so my one big life goal I have for me is I want to go to law school. I want to study constitutional law, and I want to continue on it and fight for environmental rights, right? Making sure that we're not destroying the habitat of the some tiny species of frog in Florida, right? Like they're to build a highway, like we need to make sure we take that into account and leave the earth better off than we found it, because I think recently in the last 100 years, intentionally or unintentionally, we have done a great deal of damage to our planet.
Yeah, I would agree with that. How do you feel about aquariums?
Mixed.
Yeah,
I feel
same
very
here.
mixed. They're cool. They're very cool. I will say I do not consider SeaWorld an aquarium. It's a circus. It's not. I think circuses with live animals are cruel. But I think as long as the fish, like as long as the Monterey, or not Monterey, I can't think of the giant aquarium off the coast of California.
You might be thinking of the Monterey Bay
Monterey?
Aquarium.
Monterey
Yeah.
Bay. Okay, yeah. Or the Vancouver one. Those are fantastic facilities who clearly take care of their animals, right? And treat them with respect and give them a life that would be just in terms of quality of life, as far as we understand it, just as well as they would have had in the wild. But the aquarium in Wichita Falls, Texas, right? not to say a dig on Wichita Falls, Texas, but I doubt that they have the facilities to provide the animals with the care that they need and the quality of life that they need, right? So I think if we're rewarding the aquariums like Monterey Bay or Vancouver, it's fine. But if as soon as you get into the area of it's a spectacle, it's a little more rough.
Did you watch Blackfin?
I did not.
Oh, if you want to cry, that's a
Oh
tear.
no.
That's a tear.
Oh no.
Oh no! I can't even name it. To say that again.
Oh no.
Oh, no. Yeah, that one was rough. I watched that. It's about SeaWorld, and I remember I texted a buddy after I watched it, and I said, "Hey, you want to know what we're doing this weekend?" He said, "What?" I said, we're going to get together 100 of our friends. We're going to break into SeaWorld and we're going to set every animal
Oh
free.
my goodness. Yeah.
We are going to put them out of business.
Yeah. I mean, SeaWorld, that not a good place at
No,
all.
no.
So,
If thinking on the last 100 years, if
Mhm.
you could snap your fingers and change something in regards to something that we did for better or for worse that caused harm to our planet, what is the thing that you would snap your fingers and change?
it's tough to pinpoint one thing because I mean, there's obviously a consequence with any innovation, right? But one thing that I immediately think of is the decision to um, so heavily rely our energy infrastructure on petroleum products, right? I understand it probably was a necessity and it was better than coal at the time. But we have now developed, in my opinion, a over reliance on petroleum and over reliance on our economy on petroleum to the point where, with new innovation, we are not able to pivot as well as we at least we could have. So I guess I'd snap my fingers and not eliminate the petroleum reliance that we developed. I'd say probably 60s, right? 50s, 60s. But I would probably change some of the policy that we went about with it.
If you could snap your fingers and go back to any point in time, any land for a week, and then you could come back and you'd be safe and continue your life and whatnot, where would you go back to and why?
Ooh, like any country?
Any country, any time period. So you could say, I would want to go to Rome in 1803 for 1 week.
Ooh. I would probably say I would love to snap my fingers, and go live in France and like Central Europe or Western Central Europe. Your Netherlands, Belgium, France, Germany, um, Italy, like that little section. During the 1800s, late 1800s, just to see all the innovation that was going on at that time. There's a great deal of historical significance there. You go look at the reign of Napoleon III, and then you have all the way to World War II. Like that's expanding range. But I'd want to live probably I'd want to snap my fingers and visit probably I'd say 1895 Aix de Provence in France, right? Because
Yes.
there's Paul Cézanne, there's Zola, there's all these there's Monet, there's all these incredible historical figures and that are going on that are rare that are discussing all these things around the world. It'd just be incredible to experience firsthand.
Yeah, I like that answer. That's a good answer.
Thank
So after law school, what kind of job are you going to be pursuing? Like, are you going to be like a senator, a congressman, open and not nonprofit? Like, what's that look like?
I would love to work for a nonprofit, but my dream job, and this has changed over the last couple of years because just life, right, new discoveries. But my dream job is to become the attorney general. That is my lofty, high and mighty. If everything goes right, that is my dream job. I feel that through that position, I would have the ability to provide positive change for a great deal of people, right? And like I mentioned before, like, I mean, that's a driving force for me. But it's always good to build steps along the way. So prior to that, I would love to work at legal counsel for a nonprofit. Work for the DA's office, whatever it may be. Just so I can chip away at that big goal that is, making the world a better place.
Will you come back to the show when you're the attorney general?
I will absolutely come back.
Heck yeah.
In fact, I will come back. I will. All my characters like, hey, you gotta come on this show, and go from there. But
That's sort of one of my side dreams is that right now intentionally, I've had a lot of everyday people on the
Mm-hmm.
show, and part of the reason I've even had a few people reach out and they've said like, when you 5 years from now, when the
Sure.
show's getting 1 million views an episode, keep having everyday people on, even if
Yeah.
you
Oh,
have the
absolutely.
access to like whoever, the attorney
Yeah.
general as an example.
Yeah.
They were like, these stories are so good, and you're
Yeah.
putting a spotlight almost on people who don't have any other platforms to go onto. So
Yeah.
one of my dreams though is that, like, with the original 2, 3, 400 guests, as all of us
Mm-hmm.
go through life and we accomplish these different things, to come back on and like see the
Yeah.
change.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that person who told you that, because you know there's a certain beauty in everyday life that I think is overlooked so often, and having the ability to just tap into that, for 2 hours, 3 hours, however, maybe on a Saturday night or Friday night, or whatever it may be, is such a privilege.
What do your parents do? I'm curious.
So they are both former educators. My mom was kindergarten, first grade, early childhood education, and my dad is currently, my dad was physical science, stuff like that, educator, and then my dad works in the physical fitness industry, in connection with the Austin YMCA.
Your mom must be tenacious as heck. Could you imagine working with kindergartners 8 hours a day, 10 months of the year? My goodness.
Listen, I have, like I mentioned, my 8-year-old little brother, and I love him dearly. Um, I cannot imagine a bunch of little gremlins like that. 20 gremlins with their runny noses running around, 6'7", 6'7". I like to think I have a good amount of patience. Not that many patience. Not that amount. It's not that strong.
What is going on in technology that's caused you to raise an eyebrow in recent months?
Yes. So something that's really interesting, and I feel like this is a very hot button topic nowadays, but it's just the over reliance of AI, right? And how I think that we are slowly using our humanity and losing cognitive function by an over reliance of AI. As a college student, I know that there are individuals, my peers, my classmates, who may be using AI, and I think that it's a shortcut that ends up biting you in the butt 10 times more than you get the grade. Like, let's say, oh, you use AI on a paper, right? He's like, oh, let me write a paper using about Abraham Lincoln. I don't know. Sure, you get the A on the paper, right? But maybe there's some little messaging in Abraham Lincoln's life that you didn't learn, or maybe it's part of a bigger picture that you're not able to comprehend thereafter because you have an over reliance and dependence on AI. Now, I think responsible AI use is incredibly important and should be accepted, but when you're using it to the point where you're using it as a therapist, or you're using it to figure out what an assignment is saying like if you go on Canvas and like, oh, write a 500-word essay, like, okay, what is this asking me? It's like, comprehend it. If you can't comprehend it, talk about it. And that's something that I think we're losing with the over reliance of AI. And alongside that, with AI, I think there is a again, I am far from an economist. I am not an aficionado of economic trends. But when every single company has an AI feature and they're developing their own AI feature, it kind of reminds me of what I read about, granted, because I wasn't alive at this point, but it reminds me of the dot-com bubble, right? It's like, oh, everybody has a website, everybody has a blog, everybody has this AI feature, everybody is investing millions and pounds, millions of dollars to Chat GPT or OpenAI or NVIDIA to develop their own AI tools. It's very like, okay, where's this money coming from? There's all this investment, and there's this bubble that's forming because people are obsessed with it, and it's not tangible. It's not real, if that makes sense. Those that's as far as that's the thing that's attracting the most attention to me. I mean, like I said, the individual overusage of it, but also the larger economic impacts and the costs of this over reliance of AI.
There is a interesting situation a couple weeks ago where someone here in Austin asked me if I would help them get their resume ready so they could prepare for a job hunt. And I said, sure, I'd love to.
Yeah.
So we meet up at a coffee shop, and some of the first questions I started asking this individual was I looked down, underneath, you have your job listed, the months and years that you were there, and then a couple bullet points.
Sure.
So I pulled out one random bullet point, and I said, talk to me about this skill.
Yeah.
If I was an interviewer, and I said, tell me about this skill set that you have listed, what would you say? And he sort of starts fumbling over his words, and he starts answering a completely different question. So I said, hang on. I said, we're not talking about that. And that's really important in interviews to stay focused on the question.
Sure.
So I said, I repeated the line. And I said, tell me about, at this job, how you developed this skill set. And I read the line to him. And he says, well, I never did that. And I said, well, why did you put it on here then? And he said, well, I didn't. ChatGPT did.
Oh, good golly, Miss Molly. Oh, Jiminy Crickets.
So I said, how much of these, the 3 jobs with a cumulative total of about 15 bullet points, how many of these are things you've actually done versus what ChatGPT put in here? And he said, all of those ChatGPT put in there. And I said, well, why are you doing this if you can't speak to any of these? And he says, well, I really liked how it sounded.
I am all for phrasing things on your resume that paint you in the best light, because that is what the resume, I think, is supposed to do. But to blatantly lie and fabricate because of ChatGPT, what are we doing?
Well, and here's the thing where I'm to bring it full circle with the over reliance. This was the first 5 minutes of us sitting down. So over the next 2 hours and 55 minutes, what we discovered were all of his skills. And he had such a low confidence in himself that he didn't feel like anything he actually did had any business being anywhere on that resume. Over the course of the next 3 hours, we discovered all of his skills, and he actually liked the resume 10 times better than he did than ChatGPT's version. Fast forward about 4 days, and he calls me, and he's like, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn.
No,
here. I'm saying this for the sake of the audience. He was like, you have no idea how much I discovered about myself in that conversation. And so it's like, if he had just, or anyone listening, like, you're a lot more talented than you think you are, but if you take the easy way out of not going to that 3-hour workshop to figure out what your own skill set is, and then you make this fake resume and you apply to jobs. I'm hearing all the time right now that people are like, I can't find a job, I can't find a job, I can't find a job. And I do think the economy is not great to be job searching in right now. But also, if you're using a fake resume, maybe the problem isn't the employer. Maybe the problem is you.
There's always multiple layers to the cake. And I don't understand. If a prime example, if I'll go to my back to my classmates. If my classmates are using ChatGPT or AI to do an assignment, they are more than capable to do the assignment on their own. They wouldn't go to UT otherwise, because UT is a one of the top universities in the country, let alone the world. They don't feel that they are skilled enough because they have to rely on AI, if that makes sense. And I'm like, hey, dude, no, listen, it may be challenging. College is supposed to be challenging. It's not going to be easy to write a 100-word essay. It's not going to be easy to do a research project where you have to do. I'm not a STEM major, so I don't know what STEM people do. But it's not going to be easy to do this experiment, right? But it's worth the effort, so you yourself have the tools to go on and do something afterwards. It's not just quick and easy, boom, done. Learn what you can from the process of struggling. Learn what you can from the time it takes and learn the methods to research stuff yourself, right? And write stuff yourself. You'll develop tools and you'll find stuff. Oh, I really do not like aerospace engineering. I think I'm going to change my major. But if you're using ChatGPT to do your homework or an assignment, oh, I love aerospace engineering. This is fantastic. Planes are awesome. You're setting yourself up for failure if you rely too much on AI.
It's almost like it's in some ways erasing the whole point of being human.
Exactly. You are eliminating your humanity, and in turn, you are losing your cognitive abilities. I don't mean, but like.
No. I
Yeah.
was pausing because I had two questions that were bouncing back and forth in my head. I was like, I could ask both. Which one do I want to ask first? What do you think about the future of AI? Are you excited, nervous, a mix of both, depending on the context of what we're using it for?
I am very excited for the future of AI. I think that is a great tool if it is used responsibly and ethically. However, the realist in me knows that AI will be used as a weapon for laziness. It'll be used as a tool or a weapon for misinformation, right? There's a lot of negatives that we have to be cautious of as we get closer and closer to, smarter and smarter AI. I am hopeful that, people among my generation, older than myself, and younger than myself, see this risk and approach AI with caution. Just as I think we failed to learn with the innovation of social media. Social media, I think, has caused a great deal of detriment in its initial phases. But now we're coming around and we are understanding the mental toll that it has on us. And I think we want to see the same thing with the AI.
Yeah. This is something I'll say it's been said so many times, but it's relevant to this conversation. Just yesterday, there's a guy your age in the gym, and he was telling me that every time he goes on social media, it just pisses him off because he sees one of two things. He either sees guys that are younger than him making more money than him, or he sees guys more jacked than him. And every time it just fuels his rage. And I was like, why don't you just delete it then?
Yeah.
Like for me, I feel like I have a pretty healthy relationship with it. I have to be on there because I have to market the podcast.
It's part of your profession.
Right. But I told him, like, if you're just going on there and just looking at other dudes who are quote unquote more successful or maybe more jacked, and it's not motivating you, it's just pissing you off or making you feel badly about yourself. And then he's just being like, oh, God, David, why can't you be smarter? Why can't you be richer? Why can't you be more successful? Why am I so behind in life?
Yeah.
This is doing nothing for you, my friend.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely not. I mean, oh my goodness. I learned that the hard way myself in junior hockey. That's probably the reason why I made that post in 2018, right? Where I was like, oh, I was comparing myself to all those other players, right? Instead of finding my self-worth. And it took me a long time to figure out who I am, and what I value outside of social media. I mean, I will say it's one thing I do on my phone here is, I'll show you this here, is, let's see here. I've actually changed all the colors to sepia mode so that the apps look less appealing, right? Because it's like candy, right? You see an app, it's all colorful. Ooh. I mean,
What mode is that called? Stipia?
It's like, so on. Do you have an iPhone?
Yep.
Yeah. So like if you hold it down, let's see here. You click edit. If you like you're moving an app, you can click customize. See here.
Edit. All right. Everyone do this with us. Customize.
And then I'll show it to the camera here if you can see it. And then you click tinted.
Tinted.
And then you can change the color.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
And now it's not a catch-all. It doesn't fix everything.
Wow.
But it's one of those things where you're late at night, you look at your phone, you're like, oh, these colors, all right, whatever. I don't care about them, But after the fact, like, I noticed my phone usage has gone down by like a good hour and a half. It's not a lot, from in terms of phone usage, but it's enough for an hour, hour and a half. That's a time where maybe I'm focusing on unwinding before bed, or it's something that I'm focusing on my schoolwork, or reading a book, or just going out and doing something that I wouldn't have otherwise done had I been on my phone.
Reading a what?
A book.
Huh?
Yeah, I know. It's like those things with like pages. Sometimes people don't gun Kindles. No.
You mentioned McConaughey earlier.
Yes.
I just literally yesterday showed up at my front door his new book, Poems and Prayers.
Bro, interesting. What, I haven't heard anything about it. What? Tell me about it.
I love it.
I love it.
Yeah. So I'm 35 pages in, so I've barely scratched the surface. But essentially, it's just a lot of poems and prayers. It's just thoughts that he's recorded in like journals and on the edges of napkins, and then he put it all together into a book. Is sort of my understanding of it.
Nice.
But I really like the first chapter just because it makes me think.
Yeah.
And when I start thinking, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Anything that gives you pause and need for reflection is positive.
Yeah. And I honestly, being that it's all written as poetry, I feel like it's going to be one of those books where when I pick it up again, I'm going to read chapter 1 again.
Yeah.
It's not like reading a novel where it's a story and you're like, all right, well, Casey did this. He found his sword. He killed the dragon. What's going to happen in chapter 2?
Yeah.
Like there's stuff in there I know I missed.
Yes. Well, and I'm sure your perspective too will be changed, right? If you read it again, right? I mean, that's one thing that's in a book that I read recently. So there's this book it's called How College Divides Us, right? It discusses the socioeconomic differences between college students and those who don't attend college or vice otherwise. And I first read it as a high school student, right? I thought it was very fascinating, and it was before I entered the college scene and went through the anxiety that is the admission process. I mean, anybody who's going through the admissions process knows that it's a lot of refresh. Literally. It's not fun. But reading that book again, I read it last year again, and it gives me a new perspective. And I was like, oh, okay, I know this, and I've experienced this, so I've built a personal relationship with the things that this author is talking about.
You ever heard of that one, the something laws of power? 48 laws, 52, I forget the number.
Yes, I have. I haven't personally read it yet, but I've heard good things about it.
Don't read it.
Don't read it.
You seem like a good person.
Oh, okay.
So
okay, well, thank you.
I had a guest, I had a guest on, and he said he's reading it right now. He's through the first 17, and he says he might not finish it because he feels like it's corrupting him. Because if you think of the name, all the laws are based on you getting power, which means putting yourself first in every situation. So that could mean stepping on other people, stabbing people in the back.
Yeah.
It's all about accumulating power.
Yeah.
So based off the title is why he picked it up. But then when he started reading it, he was like, 16 of these 17 laws go against my values as a person and how I conduct myself.
That's really interesting. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense though. I think there's a certain level of self-preservation that people should have. Like, you shouldn't go out into the city center and be like, I'm awful, like
right.
You shouldn't do that.
No.
But you shouldn't be on the other end of the spectrum either. You shouldn't be, I am the greatest blessing to ever walk the earth. You all should be bowing down to me. Like that is not productive for yourself, let alone anybody else. So oh my goodness. Okay, well, you know what? Maybe it's a blessing in disguise that I haven't read that book.
Maybe, yeah.
Ooh.
I did get there's a little mini version where it's just one law on each page, and I picked that one up, and I'm gonna peruse through it at some point. But I have poems and prayers at the moment.
There we go. That seems a lot more wholesome and a lot more beneficial for the mind.
Yes.
So.
Well, Casey Johnson, does anyone call you CJ?
No, my dad goes by CJ.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So I go by Case, Johnny. I used to go by Savage when I was younger. But
you had a nickname for either Lucas or Elliot when we talked on the phone.
Yes.
What was it?
So I call Lucas Robbo or Robert or Robbie, depending on whatever some variation of that. And Elliot, the boys call him this on the team, but they call him Cap or Cappers or something like that. Something go on with his last name.
Yeah.
So
Watching the two, when I had the two of them on, it was a little bit of a different episode because it's hard to interview two people at the same time
Sure.
about the story of their life.
Yeah.
But so we ended up more just talking about like Greek mythology and hockey and
that's
some
nice,
other
yeah.
things, and watching them roll their eyes at each other's answers and just poke fun at each other.
Yeah.
It was just like comedy gold for me. I got to just sit here. The two of them were sitting there and just
Yeah.
sort of laughed, not at them, but like
they see the situation.
Yes.
I will say, sitting in the locker room with them, and seeing that dynamic between them and some of the other guys on the team, it's pretty funny. It's a good laugh. Like just seeing the little jabs they do or just some of the jokes they make for each other. It's a good time.
Yes.
So.
Is there anything else you wanted to talk about today? Anything else we should riff on for this first episode before you become the Attorney General and we're talking about saving the world?
One thing that I just wanted to mention, before the viewers turn off or the viewers go about their day is make sure that you are contributing something positive to yourself or to the person next to you. Because if you contribute one thing to the person next to you, they'll contribute two things to the next person, four persons from there. If you're familiar with a pyramid scheme, it's the same thing. But instead of losing money, you get happiness, and the world becomes a better place. And if you're there for one person, you've made 1,000 people happy.
There was one line in one of Matthew's poems that said, "The most selfish thing I can do is serve." And I loved that. Because it always comes back around.
It does. It
really
does.
always comes back around.
Yeah. And so it's a great feeling to see that process in motion.
Yeah. That's a very, very good ending.
Yeah.
Huzzah.
I think so. Little snaps, right? Poetry.
Yes. Well, real quick, before I ask Casey his last question, thank you so much, as always, for tuning into the episode. It means the world to me that you guys are part of this podcast. And what I would like for you to do right now is, if you're listening on YouTube, watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, hit that follow button. And if you guys do that, we will be able to spread these stories and these adventures to whoever needs to hear them, to find some fuel for their internal fire if they're feeling like that's burning a little bit dimly these days. And my commitment to you guys will be keep finding awesome guests like Casey so that we can bring you stories, which is what we do as people. It's like the fucking like backbone of who we are. Back in the days of the hunter-gatherers, they would hunt, they would gather, and at night I had this mental image that they'd build fires and tell stories. So I'll keep storytelling with my guests if you guys do that for me. And just one more reminder, scroll down to the website below and register for the live event next February 28th at 1 p.m. at the Austin Public Library downtown. The guest is amazing. The singer that's going to be there is amazing. And it would just be... I will probably cry at that event, just walking in and seeing a room full of people. So if you want to see me cry, show up. For this last question, you probably know what happens next. Did you make it to the end of John's episode?
I did not. No.
Oh, so you don't know what happens
next.
I
will say I did want to be so surprised. I didn't want to go in, with like super open eyes. I want to kind of be like, okay, let's keep it fresh.
Okay.
So
I don't know what the last question is going to be. You're going to pick one of these cards.
Okay.
You're going to read it into the microphone, and assuming it doesn't touch on a question that we've already asked and answered, go ahead and give it your answer.
All right. Let's see. Let's go with this guy right here. Oh. All right. When was the last time I cried and why? Ooh. Well, the last time I cried, I will say I don't know if your viewers will be a big fan of this. Was November 3rd, 2024, at 4 a.m. And I'll just leave it at that.
No, absolutely not. You cannot do that to us. That was so specific.
It was just the there was a lot of things that happened at that time, and There was election night in the U.S.
Oh,
And so, yes.
my brain really is shut down.
No, it's all good.
I should have known
No,
that.
it's okay.
Oh my god.
I mean, there's a couple of reasons why I cried, but one of the reasons why I cried because I had a wonderful opportunity working with a campaign out in Wisconsin, and while it was confirmed at that time, it would be confirmed for the next couple of days. There was a statewide election that I worked with through my internship who's going to win their election, and there's some mixed emotions of tears, but also that knowing that I had an impact in that election was something that was really rewarding in that moment.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I was gonna say that was so specific. I was like, how did you know that? Like mine was this last Wednesday at 11:35. I was talking with my counselor about some things, but I was like, how did you just fucking point that in like 10 seconds? And it was so specific.
Yes.
But with that context, it makes a lot more sense.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, and I'm very thankful to have that experience that I had with that statewide election. And it gave me a great deal of joy to see that at 4 a.m. on November 3rd, among other emotions.
Yes.
So,
well, before we wrap this thing up, is there anything you want to shout out, like how to buy tickets to games to go see you guys play or something like that?
Yeah, no. So we will have our jersey sales coming up for the UT hockey team. You can buy replicas of the actual uniforms that we wear on the ice. Also, if you guys want to come down to our ice rink, we have games throughout the rest of the fall semester and into the spring, and come support us at Chaparral Ice Arena and here in Austin to hopefully bring home a national championship here to Austin and carry the momentum elsewhere.
Heck yeah.
So,
all right, Casey Johnson, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Did you have fun?
This was a blast. I had a great deal of fun.
Good. You're very good at this, so I'm very excited. I'm very excited to have you back one day. Guys, I already gave all my shout outs, so I'm not going to do that again. Stay healthy, stay happy, have a good Saturday night, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.